Can 43 people disappear without a trace? On May 12, 2022, Train 87 arrived at Dannington Central Station, right on schedule. The doors opened and the usual sounds of arrival filled the platform. But then, no one stepped off. 43 passengers had boarded that morning, every single one caught clearly on camera. Yet when the train came to a stop, not a single person was there. No signs of struggle or explanation. Just a ghost train carrying a secret no one wants to admit. What really happened between the first station and the last? Train 87 was no ordinary train, but not because of its design. A sleek, remote-operated commuter line, it ran the Windermere to Dannington Central route every weekday morning. A 2-hour journey, 6 quiet stops through the Midlands countryside. Trees, fields, and small stations with names most people never hear twice. Everything on board was digital. GPS logs updated by the second, CCTV cameras in every car, a passenger manifest linked directly to each ticket scanned. No paper, no guessing. On May 12th, the manifest showed 43 confirmed check-ins. All passengers used their phones or printed QR codes at Windermere Station around 6 a.m. A wide cross-section of ordinary lives. A florist heading to set up her morning stall. A high school student with earbuds in and a worn-out backpack. A nurse coming off night shift. A retired couple dressed for a day in the city, celebrating 40 years of marriage. One by one, they boarded. None of them were ever seen again. But it wasn't until the final stop that anyone noticed something was wrong. At exactly 8:04 a.m., Train 87 rolled into Dannington Central, on time to the second. The platform staff approached as usual. The train hissed to a stop, doors unlocked automatically, but not a single person stepped off. After a few long seconds, agents entered the front car. What they saw stopped them cold. Seats were full of abandoned items, half-drunk coffee cups, still faintly warm, a paperback lying open mid-sentence, a tablet streaming a pause cartoon, a scarf bunched neatly on a window seat, still retaining body heat. It was as if the passengers had vanished mid-thought. There were no signs of distress, no blood or overturned seats. All emergency windows were intact. The main doors showed no signs of tampering. Floors were spotless, not even a muddy footprint. Train 87 hadn't made a sound beyond its usual operations. And yet, every person on board had disappeared. Investigators turned to the one thing that might offer answers: the footage. The CCTV system at Windermere Station told part of the story. It captured each of the 43 passengers boarding. Faces clearly visible. Ticket scans matched. Every person stepped onto the train. None were seen stepping off, not at Windermere, and not at any of the 6 scheduled stops in between. Attention turned to the internal train footage. Each carriage was monitored. For the first hour, everything appeared normal. Passengers reading, dozing, scrolling through phones. Then at 7:12 a.m., the feed cut out. For 48 minutes, the cameras recorded nothing but static. No motion or sound, no log of interruption, just a digital void. Meanwhile, the train's black box noted a subtle anomaly. At 7:23 a.m., the train briefly dipped to 22 kilometers per hour. Not enough to stop, barely noticeable to passengers, but just enough to suggest a slight shift in direction, or maybe a change in destination. And that's where things start to get strange. Investigators pored over the train's digital logs, searching for any irregularities that could explain the disappearance of 43 passengers. Their attention quickly zeroed in on the section between the 5th and 6th stops, a remote stretch of track near Stonebridge Tunnel. This wasn't part of the regular commuter route. Instead, it was a seldom-used bypass originally constructed during wartime, meant primarily for freight transport. Over the years, it had fallen into near disuse. What made this stretch particularly suspicious was how the train switched tracks here. Unlike the automated switches on the main line, this bypass required manual activation, a keycard override to physically change the rails. The logs showed one keycard was used during the critical window around 7:10 a.m. That keycard belonged to Peter Lang. Lang was a former railway technician, off duty that day. But his ID pinged the system moments before the train began to slow. A slowdown recorded by the black box at 22 kilometers per hour. The timing was precise, suggesting the track change and slowdown were connected. Someone with inside knowledge had altered the train's course in a way no passenger would have noticed. Peter Lang's background came under immediate scrutiny. Officially, he had a clean record, except for one shadowed event in 2019. That year, Lang was quietly suspended from his railway job after a whistleblower accused him of assisting in unauthorized train reroutes. These reroutes weren't for maintenance or safety inspections, but clandestine diversions with unclear purposes. When police searched Lang's apartment, they found detailed maps and blueprints of the railway network, including hidden underground freight tunnels beneath the city. More striking was an encrypted USB drive, which once decoded, revealed surveillance stills showing Train 87's passengers, captured weeks before the mysterious disappearance. Someone had been watching these individuals closely. Lang himself vanished 2 days after the incident. The last verified sighting placed him boarding a ferry heading to Norway. His disappearance only deepened the mystery, suggesting he knew more than he was willing to reveal, or was trying to escape consequences. The investigation seemed to stall until a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Clara Weiss, Peter Lang's ex-wife. She reached out voluntarily, sharing a chilling conversation she'd had with Lang just days before the train vanished. He said there was something big coming, Clara told authorities. He mentioned 87 souls in one message. Further digging uncovered a link between Lang and Riversight Logistics, a private contractor recently fined for unethical human experimentation in Eastern Europe. The connection raised alarms. Was this disappearance a deliberate cover-up? Adding to the intrigue, one of the passengers on Train 87 was Dr. Elian Marcos, a biomedical researcher who had been quietly investigating Riversight's controversial projects. His presence on the train suggested the possibility of a targeted abduction, an effort to silence those who posed a threat. Was this more than just a strange disappearance? Could it be a calculated removal of liabilities disguised as a ghostly vanishing act? Slowly, the truth would emerge from the shadows, quietly unraveling the mystery of Train 87. 18 months after Train 87's eerie arrival, the case took a chilling turn. In an abandoned shipping yard near the outskirts of Dansk, northern Poland, local authorities discovered a rusted freight container left unregistered on any manifest. Inside were 27 sealed cryo-stasis pods, each marked with faint but unmistakable Riversight Logistics logos. When forensic teams arrived, they immediately began the delicate process of identifying the contents. The pods were intact, temperature regulated, and sealed with internal biometric locks. 2 of the pods were quickly matched to passengers from Train 87. Marta Hensley, a young florist, and Dr. Elian Marcos, the biomedical researcher who had been investigating Riversight. DNA confirmation removed all doubt. These were not victims in theory. They were there, alive, but unconscious. Their bodies were preserved in a deep sedation state, medically stabilized and showing no signs of trauma. No records showed where the pods were headed, but transport tags matched a closed Riversight shipping route, one that had been terminated quietly just months before the train incident. Where were the other 41? And how long had this system been operating undetected? The answers wouldn't come from Poland alone, but from retracing the train's hidden journey. So what really happened on Train 87? At first, it looked like a rogue act. One technician, one hidden tunnel, one quiet reroute. But as investigators dug deeper, piecing together logs, footage, and recovered evidence, the truth unraveled. Between 7:12 and 8:04 a.m., Train 87 vanished from satellite view for 4 minutes. In that gap, it entered a decommissioned wartime tunnel, off-record, long believed sealed. Inside, an old covert transfer platform, reactivated. The twist? Military archives revealed a 1987 trial, Project Echo, same route, same method, but only dummies on board. Train 87 was no anomaly. It was a repeat protocol. Lang's USB held more than footage. It had active access codes, last updated by a defunct agency, now folded into Riversight's parent company. The Poland container wasn't the goal. It was a leak, a cleanup gone wrong. And the passengers weren't random either. Marta Hensley, daughter of an echo engineer. Dr. Marcos, a whistleblower, yes, but also a former consultant for defense cybernetics. They weren't taken by chance. They were chosen. The train arrived on time to keep the illusion intact. The real disappearance happened underground. Lang's body surfaced 7 months later in a Norwegian lake. No ID, no prints, but in his coat, the same keycard that triggered the switch. The case was closed quietly. But ask yourself, if 43 people can vanish like that, how many already have? So tell us, was this the work of a rogue technician? A secret black market bio-research pipeline? Or something far bigger we haven't yet understood? Drop your theory below. And if this story chilled you like it chilled us, subscribe for more grounded, gripping crime mysteries. Because some trains do arrive, but what they carried never reaches the light. Until next time, this is Mind Unfolded.